Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. Before we start today's video, who's to blame for a brutal loss against the Ravens? They were this close. Oh man, they were so close to beating Baltimore. Who's to blame? I mean, you got to pick somebody to blame. We'll talk about who I'm blaming here in a couple of minutes, but give me who you guys blame for the Eagles' 30-28 loss to Baltimore on Sunday. All right, so as we always do here on a Monday, whenever Philadelphia loses, we talk about overreactions. Of course, people are always got tweets and hot takes and comments and stuff, and I got to break down what's real and what's fake. If they win, then we do great. So hopefully next week they win, because we can start grading them. I say Thursday. We could go ahead and get a big win, and then we can talk about grades instead of course, overreaction. So the first overreaction I'm seeing a ton of on Twitter, Doug Pederson is to blame for this loss. Really? Please stop. Doug Pederson is not to blame for this loss. Now, let me say this. The 2-1 conversion at the end of the game to tie the game goes a little bit on Doug Pederson, I think a little bit on Carson Wentz. What he essentially said on 94.1 WIP this morning, Doug Pederson that is, he said that he did not have time to get the play call in because they had some communication errors, and so the play call came in late, and then Wentz had to basically go up to the line and snap the ball quickly to avoid a delay of game. My problem with that is they had one timeout left, and I get that you want to save a timeout, but at the same time, this is to tie the game, right? It doesn't really matter if you have a timeout or not if you're still down 2, so burn the timeout, get the right play, but as Pederson again mentioned, they had exhausted a lot of their goal line short yardage special plays earlier on in the night, and so they didn't really have a lot of options there, but still, if you want to blame Pederson for that specific point, yes, I would blame him there. But earlier on in this football game, going for 2 early, I mean, it worked against the Niners, so why not try it again? Of course, you go hindsight 2020, a field goal, extra point would have made a big difference. But then you go to Jake Elliott missing a field goal, that could have made a huge difference. And then, of course, going for a 4th down earlier on in the second half could have made a difference as well if they would have kicked a field goal. So I get that Pederson wants a lot of blame, or is deserving of a lot of blame. And again, the 2-1 conversion, you got to just get a timeout and get them in the right play. But at the same time, the only reason they're in that football game is because Doug Pederson and Carson Wentz balled out in the second half and had a great second half adjustment and game plan to score 22 points in the 4th quarter and be right there to beat one of the best teams in the AFC. So I don't want to hear this idea of Pederson sucks. The reason that the Eagles are here right now is because Carson Wentz and Doug Pederson have at least gotten them one win. With the injuries, which we'll talk about in a second, they should not be this good, and yet still they barely lose to and really could have beaten the Steelers and should have beaten the Ravens yesterday. Again, no moral victories in the NFL, but this is a team that can win football games and compete with the best if they just figure out a couple of little details here in these football games. So again, just calm down on this whole Pederson is to blame thing. Please stop. First off, there are some injury things I want to quickly mention. Zach Ertz has a ankle injury, which they're going to get an MRI on later today. I'm sure there'll be an update by the time you watch this video, but it's not looking good. It sounds like Ertz is going to miss a significant amount of time with his ankle injury, and same with Miles Sanders. His injury, his MRI is coming up later today as well. Not a lot of info on what's going on with Sanders, but I would expect him to probably miss Thursday as well. More updates, and we'll update you guys here as we hear them, but right now, the news is both of these guys who left the game are most likely going to go ahead and probably miss some significant amount of time, or at least a couple of weeks based on what the MRIs say today. So praying and hoping that these guys are going to be okay, but we'll have more news on that probably tomorrow or the next day. Speaking of which, look at this picture. Can you just for a second throw up the picture that I sent to my producers earlier today, and I'm pulling it up on my phone right now as well. Look at this. This is the Eagles depth chart from week 1 in the National Football League, or really going back to training camp, and every guy who's crossed out in red got injured yesterday or has been injured. Look at that. I mean, Jeffrey, Jackson, Rager, Dillard, Sayamalu, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, Goodwin's not there, Dallas Goedert, and obviously Jack Driscoll. The amount of injuries this team has had. For everyone who wants to hate on Doug Pederson or Carson Wentz, look at this. How are you supposed to win when almost 90% of your starting offense, literally Kelsey and Wentz, were the only 2 remaining starters at the end of the game yesterday who had not been injured? Yet they still almost won. That's what's absolutely insane. They still almost won this game. So again, the injuries are bad. There were a lot of bad things that happened yesterday, but how do you want this team to be a successful football team when 9 of your 11 starters were done and not on the football field at one point yesterday by the end of the game, and yet literally a 2-1 conversion away from tying Baltimore? It's just insane. It's insane. The Eagles are simply not healthy, and if they can get healthy, I think that they can win a lot of football games to the latter part of this year. Speaking of being healthy, you're probably still wearing a face mask, depending on where you are in the continental U.S., right? We're all still wearing face masks. I got mine right off camera right over there. If you guys want to rep the Eagles while staying safe, pick up an official Eagle face mask right now at chatsports.com/EaglesMask. Again, you got a ton of different options. You just get a 1-pack just for you to wear around, 2-pack, 3-pack, 4-pack. There's a whole bunch of different styles and colors and varieties, all to be able for you to stay safe and also rep the Eagles. So again, chatsports.com/Eagles mask. Next overreaction is bench Carson Wentz for Jalen Hurts. This was all over Twitter in the first half. And you probably sent one of those tweets. One of you guys out there who keeps clamoring for Jalen Hurts probably sent a tweet very similar to, Carson Wentz can't move the football, bench him. I hate having to talk about this every single week. But again, what did Carson Wentz do yesterday that Jalen Hurts would be unable to do? Everything. I mean, Jalen Hurts is explosive. He has a lot of fun running plays, and I think the running dynamic could maybe help a stagnant Eagle offense at times. That's why they're running Jalen Hurts on those Wildcat plays, just to get things out of the way. But Carson Wentz is the reason Philadelphia was able to be in the game last week and to be able to be in the game this week. Carson Wentz is getting absolutely obliterated from the offensive line and no help on the outside. I mean, look at his top 4 receiving yards in terms of total receiving yards yesterday. So Fulgham was good in the second half. He was a non-factor early, but good in the second half, including the touchdown. Hightower drops a wide open, at least a 50-yard catch earlier. He dropped a touchdown later on in the football game. Finally connected on that 50-yarder, but that was his only catch. Ertz was injured and banged up basically the entire day, only 33 yards, and Richard Rodgers had one nice catch, and that was it. He's playing with nobody again. This is literally the final 4 games of last year all over again. And the reason they won all of those games last year, 1, because of Carson Wentz, and 2, because they were playing bad football teams. Well, now, it's still Carson Wentz. They're just playing good football teams, and they're almost beating them. Imagine if this team was healthy. Like seriously, imagine if this football team was healthy, 90% healthy. They would be very good. They'd be a very good football team. Let me just leave it at that. Also, the offensive line, terrible. I mean, I know that they were banged up, but good. Jamon Brown was awful. I mean, you got to get Jack Driscoll or Matt Pryor back in there. Matt Pryor hopefully coming back from his COVID, being near somebody with COVID, but awful. 6 sacks versus the Ravens. Carson Wentz has now been sacked 25 times through 6 weeks. He sacked 37 times all of last year. He's going to triple the amount of sacks at the rate that we are going right now. He is under duress all day and all night. It's just brutal to see. And yet still, the Eagles were literally a 2-point conversion or really a field goal away from winning that game on Sunday. I'm so tired of the Carson Wentz hate. It's just ridiculous. Drop a like if the Eagles should have won that game. Are you tired of the Eagles coming so close and yet losing? Drop a like that, man, we're right there. They were that close to winning that game. Brutal. All right, next overreaction here. I keep seeing a lot of people who don't want to start Jalen Hurts at quarterback want to see more of Jalen Hurts running the football and in the Wildcat. And so people are saying they need to see more Jalen Hurts. I don't know if I want to see more. I like the amount we're seeing right now. Keep the same amount of Jalen Hurts. The mix-ups that they're running there with the little kind of Jalen Hurts packages are getting better and better. The throwback to Jalen Hurts I thought was kind of fun to watch, but the running plays and read option plays alone to me are worth it. Now, I don't want to see more because we've seen a couple of Jalen Hurts plays where he will fumble the football or he just isn't on the same page with his running back, so I don't want to see too much of him, but the amount of Jalen Hurts we're seeing right now I think is perfect, and that's why it's working up to this point. Now, if you want to give him more, like a couple more touches, that's okay, but you don't want to make this kind of a 60-40 Wentz in there and then Jalen Hurts in there. You want the ball in Wentz's hands, and then you want to bring in Jalen Hurts during certain points in the game to go ahead and be a little dynamic and maybe get a little spark like they did yesterday. So I was fine with the amount of Jalen Hurts they used yesterday. I wouldn't want to use any more, but a lot of people were asking for more Jalen Hurts, and I think that kind of disrupts the offense, so I wouldn't go really that far to get more Hurts on the field. Make sure you guys are subscribed because these injury updates on Ertz and Miles Sanders is going to come out either today, tomorrow, or the next day. So we'll have updates for you guys by, at the latest, Wednesday. So whenever that happens, whenever we get updates on that, stay tuned for that. And also, if Philadelphia makes a move, and there's some reports that they might, we'll have it covered here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. So make sure you guys are subbed. All right, final one. The season starts on Thursday. Overreaction or not? No, 100%. The Eagles' season officially starts on Thursday. Thomas, we're 6 games in. What are you talking about? It starts on Thursday. We're 6 games in. They're done with their tough stretch. It was Niners, Steelers, Ravens. They went 1-2 during those times. 1-3, during those times. No, sorry, it was 1-2. There were 3 games, 1 win and 2 losses. Now is when you have to win. Thursday becomes a must-win against the New York Giants because as the NFC East stands currently, because Dallas has not played Arizona yet, based on the time of filming this, if Dallas wins, it becomes even more important. But right now, Philadelphia at 1-4-1 cannot afford to lose a lot of more football games, and their upcoming schedule, as you'll see in a second, very winnable. And so the season starts on Thursday. Backs against the wall. I think they're going to get a big win against the Giants. Based on what you see right now, and again, Dallas hasn't played tonight. Maybe we'll see Andy Dalton. Maybe he's going to be good. Maybe he won't. I don't know. Who wins the NFC East? Type PHI for Philly, Dallas, New York, or Washington. I think it's Philly or Dallas, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. Here's why I say it's very, very winnable the next 5 weeks here. Here's your schedule. Thursday night, literally this Thursday night, Giants. The Dallas one is going to be a monumental Sunday night matchup on November 1st. Bye week, then at Giants, at Browns. They could very easily be 4-4-1 by the end of the Browns game. 4-4-1. And then at that point, just keep rattling off some wins, and this team can win the division. I'm still very high on Philadelphia. I think the team is right there. I mean, they are... Hey, Jeffrey Jackson come back, you get the offensive line a little bit healthier, and they start protecting Wentz a little bit better. This team can win football games and be good. I know it could be 7 or 8 wins and you win the division. I don't care. Get to the postseason anyway, and then anything can happen. So a tough loss. Again, a lot of overreactions, a lot of injuries that can continue to keep you guys updated on, but I'm so confident, and this team is close, and it's very close, and they're playing with a bunch of backups and bad players, and yet here we are, a 2-point loss to a 5-1 Baltimore Ravens team. Ultimately, out for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm your host, Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.